So Sonic 3 is quite easily and quite literally a masterpiece of a movie. I mean, even though there was so much going on in this movie, I feel like it worked so seamlessly, and they honestly rewarded all of the video game Sonic superfans, and you can tell that they learned a lot from the success of the Super Mario Bros. Animated movie in terms of really catering towards the video game fans, as there was just Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg, especially in that final act of this movie. My jaw was honestly on the floor, and as far as final acts of movies go, I have to say Sonic 3 just blew it out the park. And I'm so pleasantly surprised that they totally did Shadow the Hedgehog right. First of all, like I said, making it so video game faithful, and just the range of emotions and the range of experiences that our boy Shadow the Hedgehog goes through is pretty unbelievable. Firstly, coming onto this planet not knowing anything or anyone, or not remembering his past, and then embarking on a really sweet friendship with Maria, which then very quickly turns into devastation, and then you see him on the warpath on this revenge mission. And then I just absolutely love the way in which Sonic is kind of able to turn him into a hero, and then this hero makes the ultimate sacrifice, and as we know in the video game, he is called the Ultimate Being. So I honestly think they did Shadow the Hedgehog so well in this film. And then we get to see Ivo and Gerald Robotnik. So this was obviously not something that happened in the video game, so I really like the way in which they extended the material, and because they kept so many aspects faithful to the video game, I think they were allowed to kind of do their own thing at the same time, and I think this worked so well as it just brought out a brand new side of Ivo Robotnik that you've never really seen before. And Jim Carrey, I have to say, just ate both of those roles so well. You can really see where each character is coming from, and just two very, very different characters in Ivo and Gerald, and some of his one-liners with Ivo Robotnik are just so good. For example, saying "what" when he realizes Gerald Robotnik's real plan, and then the other line when he's saying "I did it" when he's kind of getting the laser away from the earth, and then they realize that it's not all resolved, and then he's like, "What did you do to Tails and Knuckles?" Honestly, his line delivery was just done so well, and I'm sure that they must have given him full creative freedom and tons of money in order to bring him out of retirement and back for this movie. So now let's talk about some of the best moments that we couldn't talk about in the non-spoiler review. So speaking of Robotnik, I have to say his final speech to Agent Stone was one of the most emotional things I have ever witnessed in the theaters. And I watched this movie 3 times now, and every single time that scene just gets me really emotional, as it's just so powerful, and you can really see the connection between Ivo and Agent Stone. The $1 million question, quite literally, is will Ivo come back? I guess they could do it. I don't want them to undermine this moment. Maybe they'll go 1 or 2 films without Gerald or Ivo Robotnik, and then maybe one of them will come back. And then we have to talk about Sonic and Shadow turning into their super forms with Live and Learn from Sonic Adventure 2 playing in the background. One of the best cinematic moments ever, and there was just so many actions from the game that they were able to translate into this live action movie. It was honestly one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And then from a hilarity point of view, Ivo versus Gerald right at the end I think was really, really funny, especially when they're kind of using Green Lantern's ring as well. And it was a nice moment when you get to see that Tom did survive, but it really does put your heart on the floor when you're seeing Sonic just losing his mind when he is thinking, and it is seeming like Shadow has killed Tom off. It was honestly so shocking, and you can really see all of the anger just coming to the surface with Sonic. And the post-credit scenes totally delivered as well, so I love the fact that 2 fan favorite characters are now going to be entering into Sonic 4, namely Amy and of course Metal Sonic. I mean, who created Metal Sonic? Maybe they'll have another multiverse version of Ivo Robotnik, although I don't think they'll go down the multiverse route yet like they did do with Sonic Prime. And I love how they made Amy a lot more edgier than we have traditionally seen her in the video games. Of course, they don't want her to just be a doting character always running after Sonic. If anything, she is the one that is now protecting Sonic, so I cannot wait to see what she is going to bring in Sonic 4. And apparently, they are not going to shy away from the romantic relationship between Amy and Sonic. I am personally a little bit gutted that we didn't get Silver the Hedgehog being introduced in the post-credit scene, but I guess it makes sense that you have to bring Amy and Metal in first. I thought James Marsden was really, really good as Tom. Of course, his role has been reduced most from the other two movies, as obviously they're focusing a lot more on the Sonic characters. I definitely think that's the right thing to do, but I think for what James Marsden was asked to do, he did do a good job. Tails and Knuckles' roles were also reduced a little bit to make more space for Shadow, Gerald, and of course Sonic. But I absolutely loved all of the Team Sonic moments, especially Tails kind of helping and flying around, very similar to how they all work as a team in Sonic Heroes, which is easily one of the most underrated games. I thought it was clever as well how you don't really know whether or not you can trust the members of Gun, as they are kind of showing that the organization is pretty sinister, as it is in the video game as well. And I love how the progression of these three movies has gone a little bit darker with each one, and I'm just so glad that they are really happy to embrace it. For example, killing off certain characters, bringing in guns, bringing in motorbikes, bringing in really cool edgy things. And I love the reference of Knuckles not liking ghosts, as this is also something from Sonic Adventure 2 as well. And then the other post-credit scene, of course, shows that Shadow the Hedgehog has survived. Maybe he is the person that allowed Ivo Robotnik to survive as well. It looks like Jim Carrey and everybody involved actually are loving the press tour with this movie so far, so I'm sure everybody will want to come back. And of course, Sonic 4 is coming out in 2027, so my prediction is that they are going to be doing a Shadow movie maybe in 2026, and this could be where they bring in the Black Doom and really focus on Shadow the Hedgehog's past. I guess they could do a series very similar to the Knuckles series, but I just think Shadow is way too popular to just be kind of demoted, so to speak, to a series. And speaking of the Knuckles series, it was really funny seeing Wade Whipple actually make an appearance in this film. In terms of Sega's wider objective, in terms of making this the year of Shadow the Hedgehog, I honestly think they have made it an absolute success, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in Sonic 4. But as far as Sonic 3 is concerned, I honestly think they blew it out the park, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a mega 9 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Sonic 3? What was your favourite moment? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.